Hello and welcome. In this presentation, we will discuss how you can develop strong partnerships with other businesses to serve children and families. The information contained here has been prepared by Civitas Strategies and is not intended to constitute legal, tax, or financial advice. The Civitas Strategies team has used reasonable efforts in collecting, preparing, and providing this information, but does not guarantee its accuracy, completeness, adequacy, or currency. The publication and distribution of this information are not intended to create, and receipt does not constitute, an attorney-client or any other advisory relationship. Reproduction of this information is expressly prohibited. Only non-commercial uses of this work are permitted. In today's conversation, we will discuss why providers should consider a formal partnership with employers, how to find an employer to partner with, what the incentives are for employers, how employers can launch a program, and how providers and employers can develop a partnership service agreement. The COVID-19 pandemic brought to the forefront the long-standing reality that the child care industry is vital for our country's workforce and overall competitiveness. Without affordable, accessible childcare options, qualified workers who are parents and caregivers cannot take on work, leaving positions unfilled. Ensuring that businesses can remain competitive will require a strong child care market for employees to rely on. An innovative way to stabilize child care businesses is through partnerships with area businesses. These mutually beneficial relationships can support child care businesses by providing reliable, constant revenue through steady enrollment and benefit the partnering business through employee retention with dependable child care services. Businesses that seek to offer child care benefits to their staff can partner with an existing child care provider in their community to secure child care for their employees' dependents, helping to retain and attract staff, improve morale, and boost productivity. Developing these partnerships takes time and effort to cultivate and develop. This video will outline for child care businesses and employers what's needed to form a partnership and how to locate an employer as a potential partner. A partnership between an employer and a child care provider can take many forms and can be crafted to meet the needs of both the employer's business and employees as well as the child care business. For instance, if a business provides financial assistance and resources for their employees to find or afford child care, this arrangement is often called employer-sponsored child care because the employer is sponsoring care for their employees' children. However, this might not necessarily result in a formal partnership with a local child care provider. A formal partnership means that the child care provider has contracted with the employer to serve only children of their employees, or the program is allocating or reserving a certain number of their slots for those employees' children. Employers might be able to work with the child care provider to be open during the shifts that their employees work. Or, employers could simply have an agreement with a local provider to refer your employees to that provider if and when they need child care, which could help boost enrollment at the program. Child care programs can offer services on or near an employer's campus or off-site at their own facility, depending on the situation. Usually, partnering with a child care provider that is separate from a business means that the child care provider would hire and train staff and take care of all aspects of their own business. When pursuing formal partnerships with another business to provide child care services, be sure you have a written and signed agreement detailing the responsibilities and expectations of each party. More details about what should be included in this agreement are included in the tool that accompanies this video. A formal partnership can have many benefits to your child care business. Your enrollment might become more stable, meaning you could count on more reliable and constant income, because a local business is sending their families to you. This could save you time on outreach and marketing. You may become a trusted resource for that business, and word of mouth could lead to additional partnerships in the future. You also may be able to match the business hours of operation, and possibly even be closed on holidays or during times the families are not at work. Think about the long-term impacts of this partnership and what it could mean for your business in years to come. Let's look at an example of the benefits of this type of partnership. Selena owns a small family child care home and has been struggling to reach full enrollment. A parent of one of the children in her care works at a small business with 10 employees down the street. This parent has been thrilled with the option to have her child so close to her place of employment. Selena learned about employer-provider partnerships and how they can support her business. She decided to call the nearby employer to see if they would be interested in engaging in a partnership. She told the employer that if they would be willing to let employees know about her business nearby, Selena would be happy to offer priority spots on her waitlist. The employer was so excited about this opportunity that they also agreed to pay a portion of their employees' child care costs so that employees could receive nearby child care at a discounted rate. Selena now benefits from having a steady stream of enrolled families and built-in advertisement of services through this partnership, stabilizing her child care business. When considering a business partnership, it is important to understand and communicate the benefits this will have for the employer. First, employers who offer child care benefits to their employees report increased employee retention and loyalty, improved productivity, and a better workplace environment. All of this leads to reduced expenses in employee absences and turnover and higher profits due to increased productivity. Further, businesses may be eligible to receive a tax break if they invest in care for their employees. The employer-provided child care facilities and service credit offers a refund of up to 25% of child care expenses at tax season plus 10% of research and referral expenses, with a maximum annual credit of $150,000. Employers who partner with you may be eligible to claim this credit for expenses that their company incurs to provide child care services to their employees, either on-site or in contract with your child care business, as well as for the expenses they incur to help them find child care. Here is another example of the benefits of this type of partnership. Megan, the owner of several businesses, has been experiencing difficulty with hiring new staff, with many applicants stating that they wished they could accept a job offer, but can't without access to child care in the area. Megan learned about employer child care partnerships and approached a nearby child care business to tell them the story of prospective employees that had to turn down jobs due to a lack of child care in the area. The child care business agreed to enter into a partnership with Megan's businesses. The child care business would reserve a number of openings for children of Megan's employees, and in return, Megan would provide financial support. By having reserved child care placement at a nearby, well-respected program, Megan now has an additional incentive for working families to accept employment at her businesses. How do you launch a program? Here are some questions to consider. First, decide what type of benefit you will offer. For instance, will you provide on-site childcare, or will you contract to reserve spaces in your program? How many employees need childcare and how many would use this benefit? Is there an existing business nearby you could work with, or do you need to start conducting outreach? Will you be offering financial assistance to help your employees afford childcare, or any other benefits? What other decision-makers within your company do you need to involve in this process? Getting answers to these questions will be crucial first steps. How do you develop a child care employer partnership service agreement? When entering an employer-child care partnership, both you and the employers must discuss and agree upon which entity will take on which responsibilities and what the expectations are for both parties. Here are some key pieces of information that a valid agreement might include. The names of the employer or employers. The details of the child care business providing services, including hours, ages served, and other details of the program. The location, including relation to employer's location, such as on-site, near-site, or in the community. The projected number of families and children the employer has identified who are in need of child care. If the employer will financially support the partnership, you will be eligible even if there is no direct financial support. And finally, the start and end date of the agreement. Employers may decide that they want to pay a portion of their staff's childcare costs directly to your childcare business. If that is the case, that will need to be explained in the agreement. Alternatively, employers may opt to promote your childcare business to employees without financially supporting the cost of services. There are many other questions and considerations that should be discussed and mutually agreed upon by all involved parties. Once these decisions have been made, you can add lists of responsibilities within the service agreement template. We have included 2 sample service agreement templates in the tool that accompanies this video. These templates are intended to be used as a sample and as a starting point. We strongly recommend that you connect with your business insurance representatives and legal representatives as you draft and before you sign this service agreement or any significant business contract. The individuals and entities who sign the contracts accept responsibility for the agreements made therein. When entering an employer-child care partnership, employers and child care businesses must discuss and agree upon which entity will take on which responsibilities and what the expectations are for both parties. First, define the nature of the partnership. Will the program operate at a facility operated by the employer, on-site, or at a facility operated by the child care business, off-site? Will the business directly pay tuition, for reserved spots, or for other expenses? If so, how much will be paid, and how frequently? Who will be responsible for collecting the remaining tuition? If the employer collects tuition as a payroll deduction, for instance, how will this be transferred to the provider? Next, consider the location. Is the location a new child care program, or existing? Will renovations be needed? How long will they take? What will be the address and exact location, including, if applicable, building name, wing, or room number, of the child care program? Discuss slots and children served. What ages will the child care program serve? How many children can the program serve? How many slots are currently available for the partnership, and how many are already filled? Will additional slots be reserved for staff if they open up? What happens if there is a waitlist for employees' children? Determine the program schedule. What are the program hours? What days and times during the year will the program be closed? Does this match the hours of the employer? What is the demand? Has the employer assessed whether their current employees would enroll children in this program? How many families and children might enroll as soon as this partnership begins? How many families and children are interested in enrolling next year? Are there more or less slots available than this assessed demand? What are the responsibilities for premises? Which party is responsible for ownership or lease of the space? Maintaining the facility's interior? For example, who is responsible for fixing a leak in the ceiling or a floorboard that has come loose? If applicable, maintaining studs out, meaning the facility's exterior and grounds? For example, who is responsible for mowing the grass? Who is responsible for ensuring that the path families take to enter the child care program from outside the building is well maintained and unobstructed? If a private space is rented, this might be the renter's landlord's responsibility. What are the responsibilities for employment? Which party will be the employer of the hired child care staff, responsible for paying wages? What are the responsibilities for liability? The child care provider must hold liability insurance for their program. If operating as its own business, the child care program should have its own business liability insurance covering the workforce child care space. Consider business property insurance. If a child care program is operating within the employer's facility, then both the child care program and the employer have business property in the space. Each party should consider business property insurance that fully covers their respective items. Each party should mention that their business property insurance only covers the items owned by the respective party. For example, if an employer allocates a space on their campus for a child care program and does not offer material supplies to the child care program, the business property for the employer is the structural room, whereas the business property for the child care program is all the materials and supplies within that room, excluding the structure. Also look at business liability insurance and general liability insurance. The party that owns and leases the space should hold business liability insurance. If a child care program is operating within an employer's facility, it is recommended that the child care program hold the business liability insurance. Obtain a certificate of insurance. If an employer chooses to directly hire child care providers as employees of their business, and those child care providers work at a site operated and insured by the child care business, then the employer should ask their insurer to issue a certificate of insurance covering that employee for their activities at the off-site location. What are the child care program policies and procedures? Does the employer want to review the policies and procedures in place by the child care business? Does the employer want to approve the policies and procedures in place by the child care business? Is there a shared desire for the employer and the child care business to review and discuss the child care program's policies and procedures on an annual basis? Who are the primary contacts? Identify primary contacts from both parties and their contact information. This doesn't have to be included in the contract, but should be agreed upon and shared. Primary contacts could include contract negotiation, amendment, and approval, basic, day-to-day communication. For example, a member of HR and a point person from the child care program, accounting and payroll, and if applicable, facilities and maintenance. What else do you need to know? Let's take a few minutes to answer some frequently asked questions. What happens if you want the employer partnership agreement to end or if there is a change in leadership? Include in your agreement how to exit the agreement with an employer. Be sure to include steps the employer needs to take and steps you need to take as the provider. By outlining these steps in your agreement, you will have a guide to follow when the time comes to end the agreement. Things to consider are the length of notice each party is expected to provide the other, how to notify the families who are utilizing the partnership agreement, and what impact the ending of a partnership agreement will have on the partnering business, your child care program, and families. Also, consider including how to revisit the agreement when there is a change in leadership either with the business or with the child care program. Having a process with a timeline on how to review and honor the business child care partnership will help both businesses support their employees and children by providing consistent, reliable child care. If you engage in an employer partnership, does the employer control the child care business? No, in this employer-child care partnership the child care business retains its autonomy, meaning the child care business is its own business with its own policies, procedures, and practices. In employer-child care partnerships, each business comes together to partner to support the success of the other business. In instances where an employer directly employs a child care provider to provide child care services to its employees, then the business could have the decision-making capability that would impact how the child care business is operating. How are disputes handled and who has the final decision-making capability? Employers and child care providers need to establish clear guidelines and procedures for dispute resolution in their partnership agreement. The specific process can vary, but outlining how disputes are handled will provide a guide for the employer and you if an issue occurs. Here are some steps to consider including in this process. Start with communication. The first step is to encourage open and honest communication between the employer and the child care provider. Both parties should express their concerns, expectations, and any issues they are facing related to the partnership. If direct communication does not resolve the dispute, mediation can be explored. A neutral third party can facilitate a discussion between the employer and the child care provider to find a mutually acceptable resolution. If needed, seek legal advice. In situations where the dispute remains unresolved or involves complex legal issues, seeking legal advice may be necessary. By having a well-defined process in place, both parties can navigate disputes more effectively and maintain a positive working relationship. What types of businesses and providers can benefit? Types of businesses that could benefit from this partnership include hospitals, skilled care facilities, and medical complexes, universities or school districts, manufacturing and factories, other companies with a lot of staff in one location, groups of companies located in shopping plazas or grouped close to each other, businesses with limited care options, such as in rural or agricultural areas, and companies with high turnover, such as hospitality and retail. Child care providers can also benefit from this partnership. This includes home-based family child care providers, both large and small child care centers, and multi-site childcare centers. Free business consultations are available to help you strengthen your business. Experienced business consultants are available, at no cost to you, to help you focus on your business goals and to stay accountable to what you want to achieve. Use the QR codes shown here or visit indianaspark.com/civitas for more information on this and other useful resources. And be sure to visit the Civitas Strategies YouTube channel for more valuable resources to support you and your business.